All right, and we're back for more Social Media Cowboys podcast. I am Chris Hoke, and with me is
Jay Hunter.
DJ Hunter. And today we have somebody way more talented than us and way more sophisticated and just generally a better person than we are. Introduce yourself.
My name's Shelly Mathews.
What do you do, Shelly Mathews?
I'm a mediator.
Mediator. So right there it tells you immediately that she probably knows more stuff than we do because she can actually talk to two different types of people, come to a conclusion in the middle, and mediate. So what's the tip? What's the mediation? What's a typical mediation scenario for you?
So when people hear the term mediation, they typically think of a court process. They think about going, to a hearing, maybe a divorce, those types of things, which mediation plays a big part in that. I'm taking it a step further. I'm providing mediation services or beyond the courtroom. People just do not always understand that there are different types of mediation. There's, types of mediation like facilitative, transformative, narrative, and we can get into more discussion on that. But I think the idea is just to let people know that mediation is more than just a courtroom setting.
Okay, so if DJ and I get mad at each other, and DJ wants to own all my Star Wars stuff you see behind me, and I don't want him to, you would come and mediate and say, well, he can have the Falcon, but he can't have the AT-AT, and then whatever we agree to is binding.
And yes, agreements can be binding, but it's not for me to decide. A mediator doesn't typically make the decision for you. It's about facilitating communication, getting the two of you to talk and reasoning. There's a story that kind of talks about the basics of what mediation is. And most people that have studied like conflict resolution, conflict management, they know this story because it's this typical example, and that is the orange story. So these two kids, they're arguing over an orange. They're arguing back and forth. I want the orange. I want the orange. And mom walks in the room and says, what's all the ruckus? What's going on? And so mom looks around and they're fighting over the orange. So she takes a knife, she cuts it in half and gives them each half. So one child takes his half, peels it, eats the fruit, throws the peeling in the trash. The other child takes his half, peels it, throws the fruit in the trash, and then keeps the peeling because he needed it for a science project. And so mom was, just in awe about if I had asked enough questions, if we had talked this out and we had communicated better, I could have peeled it and given one child all the peelings and given the other child all the fruit.
Oh, interesting. So it's somewhat of a let people kind of reach their own wisdom of Solomon type of situation, but let them figure it out.
Yeah. A lot of times people are in conflict with each other beyond just, the typical conflict. They don't understand some of the underlying issues that are involved.
Yeah.
And that comes from even your conflict style. So, if you're a competitor or are you an avoider? Do you avoid conflict?
I jump into conflict. I mean, I have no problem.
You jump into conflict.
I mean, hey, DJ, well, that'd be a DJ question. So I can't describe myself. Do I avoid conflict, DJ, or do I go and what do I do?
You go into it.
Yeah. DJ is like,
I'm a competitor.
Huh?
I'm a competitor.
Yeah, well, but see, you're a little different. I mean, I'm loud with conflict. DJ's like quiet. You won't even know he's fighting you until like it's already almost done. You're like, what? I didn't even know he was punching me. You know what I mean? It's like, and by that time he's already got your money and he's ready to cut your throat, and you're about, what? I didn't know what happened. The DJ did all this, and I didn't even know he did it to me. Where I come in and I'm screaming and yelling, and I'm like the Hulk. He's like a ninja, and I'm like the Hulk. So it's like, but I don't think either one of us shy away from conflict at all. So what would you do there? So if you had the loud guy, if you have the Hulk, and you have a ninja, how do you get in between that?
But I mean, if you're both competitive and competing against each other, that is difficult because one of you wants to win. You're going to be a winner.
Right.
So when you're in mediation, you have to keep conversation going and learn how to ask the right questions to get people to that point of trying to come up with a solution to their conflict. But if you're collaborative or compromising or even accommodating, people walk through life a lot of times and don't even realize that they're just constantly accommodating others without boundaries. I'm just always accommodating. I'm giving, but I'm never setting boundaries, never standing up for myself. And then that causes conflict also. But yes, two people that are competitive, you might be in mediation a while.
Well, I'll say this. I think with I can't speak for DJ, but with me, like I know what I really, 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 really want. So if I have to give away 5 things to get the one thing I want, I've got no problem with that. I think DJ might be. I mean, I don't know, DJ. You might have to chime in for yourself here, but I think DJ is like he don't want to give you those 5 things. He wants the one thing and never give you nothing. And I'm like, but I'm a little different. I'm like, I'll give you these 5 things. I don't care. Just give me that one thing. You know what I mean?
You're willing to negotiate, so you may be more of a compromising person, where DJ is probably more competitive.
Oh God, yeah. Because we have that internal discussion all the time. I'm like, hey, well, what if we give him this? Because I know what I really want. I mean, and it goes back to, I got my first marriage was real early, so I wasn't really single. I was like married right out of high school, so I wouldn't do the single dating thing until I was an adult. And when you have no idea what you're doing, and all of a sudden now you're thrown out there to like try and, ask chicks out on date. I mean, you got to figure out like how to do it, how to communicate. So it's like, so you go from like never having to ask for a date from the age of 17 till now in your 30s. To me, it's a good analogy for business. It's like you get real assertive and direct about what you want. So instead of being shy and like, okay, you like this girl, you don't know what to say, you don't know what to do, you get real assertive and you're like, okay, like, hey, I want to go to the movies and to dinner. Are you free Tuesday? And you get real assertive with it. And kind of the same thing happens in business. It's like, hey, I want to work for your company. This is what we charge. Do we got a deal? And so you learn, to me, it's like that, those things are the same thing. And I learned both of those in my 30s because I didn't really become an entrepreneur until my 30s. So that assertiveness to say, hey, I'm direct. This is what I want. How do I help you give me what I want? You know what I mean? So I think it comes from, I don't know where I'm going with that, but anyway, I think it comes from that when you get a little older and like you are willing to give up things to get things.
Yes, I do. I think that we do change our conflict styles whenever as we mature or get older. So a person that could be very competitive whenever they're younger may turn to compromising whenever they get older. There's different reasons to take different stances. You may consider yourself competitive for the most part, but then whenever you have children, maybe competitive kind of goes out the window with your kids and you're more compromising or accommodating with your children.
Yeah. Now, DJ, where'd you learn all this competitiveness from? Like, where'd you get that from?
I don't know. Not my parents.
No, your dad's pretty chill. Your mom's even chiller.
I don't know. I played tennis my whole life, so I guess I got it from playing tennis.
Tennis, and then you went into gaming.
Yeah.
He's good. He's like, I don't know if your kids or if you have any exposure to video games at all, but he could be like esports competitive gaming, whatever. I don't even know what you call it. What do you call it?
Esports, yeah.
Yeah, esports. He could be like a gamer.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. And then I think all that does the tennis and then the gaming and stuff. Yeah, it's either lose or you win, and there's no like in between. Yeah. To me, there's like a million shades of gray in between winning and losing. Sometimes you win and you actually lost. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can actually win but you end up losing. So I have to ask you a personal question, Shelly. And it's a very personal question. I don't want to put you on the spot right here on the podcast, but I'm going to. How many times do people put 2 T's in Matthews instead of 1? Because I had to train myself to write 1 T when I wrote you an email.
It happens all the time. If I'm talking to anyone on the phone, ordering something, giving information, talking to the doctor's office, whoever it is I'm talking to, I always, after I say my name, there's 1 T in Matthews.
Yeah.
Because, you have to. Yeah.
Well, when we were sending emails back and forth, and then when I had to forward your information to DJ working on your site and things like that, I had to stop and retrain myself to write 1 T, because I don't know if I've ever met anybody with a 1 T Mathews in their last name. You might be the first one, only one I ever met.
No, actually there are quite a few.
Are there?
In the Bosque County area, there's quite a few Mathews out there where there's only 1 T in their name.
Yeah. So how did you get into the mediation? I mean, this doesn't sound like an easy job. Dealing with conflict daily.
So I think people have natural born instincts or just natural born gifts or talents that they like. So people that are teachers, they know that they're a teacher. They're going to be. They may not be a teacher in school, but they're a teacher doing in some form of business, some type of work that they do. They're teaching others. So you just have those natural born gifts. And I just always knew that I was a peacemaker.
Okay.
Just part of what I, like to do. I like to bring conflict, meet it head on and find ways to resolve conflict. And so whenever I decided to go back and work on my master's degree, I started looking, and I was thinking that counseling was the way to go. If you want to be a peacemaker, you want to help people, that counseling's it. But as I researched online and looked at programs that were available, Abilene Christian University just kind of stood out to me, and they had a master's program in conflict management and conflict resolution. Yeah. And part of that is they do all the required training for the state of Texas to be a mediator. So it was just a perfect fit.
Yeah. Well, I think we understand the whole idea of you have natural tendencies and gifts, because I don't think me and DJ could be anything but nerds and media. I just like media. To me, it's all the same. So whether it's video or podcasting or making a website or doing social media, video games, all of it's the same. It's all media to me. I like messing with all of it. So, what about you, DJ?
Yeah, that and sports, watching sports.
Yeah, on media. Tweeting about sports and everything else. So, yeah. On my own personal Twitter, how much social media do you do, Shelly? Do you engage with it much?
No, not much.
Not on a personal level?
No. I don't have time, really. Busy.
Well, Twitter drove me insane personally, so I had to get off of it personally. I'm still on there, and I leave it there, obviously, but I didn't delete it, but it's still there, and I'll go and read a few people I follow, but I had to, it was so argumentative. But then I've been doing more with our own company social media, so I've been getting on the company's Twitter more, and now I find myself getting involved with the same Twitter accounts that was driving me crazy before, but now the company, and I have to remind myself not to say anything as social media cowboys. I'm like, oh, I can't tweet that because that's the brand, that's not me. I have to be very careful. I could probably use a mediator with social media.
Yeah. I mean, on occasion I will get onto Facebook, but I only use social media really to track my kids. And now that 2 of them are adults, I just tell the other 2 that watch your younger brother and see what he's doing on social media.
That's the only reason I have Snap is because my kids are on Snap. Yeah. I personally could care less about Snap, but since they're on there, I'm there. All right, well.
Social media probably causes more conflict than anything.
Well, when Facebook first really got big, I think it's died down, But how many? There was like some staggering percentage of divorces were all from Facebook and Facebook affairs, and this long lost boyfriend met this long lost girlfriend, and they connected, or this high school person caught up with this one, and I think I don't know. You don't hear much about that data anymore, but I don't know. Probably between Facebook really blowing up in 2015. I mean, there was like a slew of divorces attributed to Facebook.
Yep, I can see that.
And then you had people get so angry and irate on social media. They've done violent things and horrible things. So, yeah, I mean, you said it. You use the word peacemaker. Blessed are the peacemaker. I mean, they probably need a lot more people trained to do what you do in this world. A lot more.
The strange thing is that I love doing it. I love it. But, people are like, why would you want to do that? But there's just something about that negotiating and peacemaking and just finding resolution to conflict that that's what drives me.
Right. Well, speaking of conflict and resolution, DJ's got to go and try and get his dad's car, find it some peace, or put it out of its misery. One, they had I guess we won't get into details, but DJ's dad's show car didn't have a good weekend.
Got caught on fire while he was driving it. Long story short.
A show car, or show-worthy car. I don't know if you call it a show car or not, but show-worthy car. How much is that audio system in it? It's like that's crazy.
That's more than my car.
Yeah. It had an audio system that's worth more than the people's whole cars alone.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it went up in flames. Anyway. Well, all right, what's next? We always end with this. So what's next? Is there something you want to tell everybody that's coming up for you? Anything big? Any big news you want to break right here?
So I am now officially a parenting coordinator. So that's a new service in McLennan County. There's not very many parenting coordinators around this area, and so I'm really trying to get that up and going. Parenting coordination and parenting facilitating, those are both services that are outlined even in our law, the Texas Family Code 153, Chapter. It clearly outlines what a parenting coordinator and a parenting facilitator are. And so I'm working with people in McLennan County trying to get that up and running as a service to offer to people in McLennan County.
So maybe you said, maybe it just didn't hit me. So is that like helps like to divorced parents with their kids?
Yes.
Okay.
Divorced parents do co-parenting.
Okay.
Through the co-parenting process.
Gotcha.
Lots of conflict arises when two people who are not married anymore are trying to co-parent.
Trust me, I know. I mean, I was married once, and we had 2 kids, and we divorced, and it never got so bad that we would need a mediator. But I mean, there are definitely communication obstacles for sure, and I honestly think that I never once ever used kids as any kind of a weapon, but I'm not so sure the other party didn't try that, but I was, again, goes back to what we said before, I'll give up other things to gain others. I usually would kind of let it roll just to keep the peace and, make sure the kids happy. But anyway, yeah, it was definitely a role for you. That's a big thing. Yeah.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, give everybody your website as we close. How do they go find you?
So actually, you can find me at stuckinthemiddlenomore.com.
Stuckinthemiddlenomore.com.
Yeah.
All right. It's a mouthful. Just look for Shelly. Well, if anybody wants to reach her and they forget the website, just come. I'll connect you. We got the hookup with Shelly. All right. Well, hopefully me and DJ never need you. But if we do, you're the first person we'll call. So he doesn't ninja me in my sleep. All right, guys. Well, that's a good one. Stuckinthemiddlenomore.com. All right, Shelly. Thank you for being on our podcast.
Thank you.
All right. Peace out.
Bye.